inside each tank are those water pipes where the chilled water comes from the water tower out back to cool them all down. This tank right here, by itself, this is 15,000 gallons of hot water that's stored at 150 degrees. So part of our energy efficiency is we use a lot of hot water, we use a lot of water. We want to make sure it's like the tea kettle is on it all the time at 150 degrees and ready to go instead of heating that up. This facility right here is already using 30% less water than we use at our Bourbon distillery. Bourbon being historical, they have buttoned it up as much as we can in energy efficiency, so it's pretty awesome that already we are 30% less water usage here in this facility. These two tanks right here make the food for the yeast. These are 7,000 gallon tanks. So what happens is that water enters tank number 1, so it'll heat up to around 155 degrees. Then we're going to drop in milled rye and milled malt. Because those are little tiny microorganisms that need to eat baby food, right? We're not going to quite feed them the starches of a corn just yet. We need them to reproduce rapidly on some small grains. So that's going to directly feed into the yeast stream. Can you feed yeast at 155 degree mash? No. So these all grains at the back, there is a mash chiller that cools everything down and sends it over to the yeast stream. These right here are the mash cookers. They're 11,000 gallons each. There are 4 of them. And it actually takes 7 of them to fill up 1 fermenter. So how this goes? Water enters tank number 1. It's going to heat up to 200 degrees. At that point, the milled corn drops in. Would you add a little bit of malt to our corn? Because what's going to ultimately become if you start cooking milled corn at 200 degrees? What are you making? You're making basically cornbread, right, at that point? So you need a little bit of that enzymatic activity that malt adds to kind of keep it nice and loose in there. So they cook for about 20 minutes. Then at that point, the tank cools down to 185. You drop in the rye, cools down to 155, drop in the malt. All right, now can you add 155 degree mash to the fermenter? Nope. So all this travels to the back of the room, goes through those mash chillers again, cools it down. The idea is all 4 of these will cook, cool down, be sent to the fermenter, and at that point, half of that yeast will join it, agitate it, cook 3 more, cool it down, send it to the fermenter, add that remaining yeast, agitate it, magic starts happening. So 1 whole mash cook will take around 6.5 hours. There's 14 miles of pipe in this place, guys, roughly. And everywhere you see a yellow actuator on either side of those tanks right there, they represent over 400 points of contact that the operators monitor from the office above us, and they can change anything with the click of a mouse. What could go wrong?
Sure.
Well, quite a few things. Yeah, we broke ground in June of 22. So maybe a motor that you installed in 2023 or 24 was wired backwards. Or maybe it just doesn't want to start. Or maybe you have a gate that doesn't want to open. That sort of thing. So computers. It's computers. Yeah. You bet. Absolutely. And on moving parts, computers have moving parts. Signings to open, close, pressure in, pressure out. But these all do have to be hand cleaned. So after 1 mash cook, an operator needs to come down here, they'll get a steam, they'll get a CIP, they take those long hoses and they give themselves a facial by squeezing out every last bit of grain in between all of those pipes before they can do the next cook. So still does take hands to do that.